Hey folks, last night, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa gave an address to the nation in which he relayed the findings of a special report into state capture. For those of you who don't know what the term state capture means, it refers to a vast conspiracy in which people essentially tried to use South Africa as their own personal piggy bank. Initially, I was going to respond to his address directly, but after watching it, I realized that he spoke at such great length and in such specific detail about the inner workings of South Africa that it would not make much sense to an international audience. So I thought I'd just summarize it for you here. In short, what the report found is that every aspect of South African society has been compromised by a massive conspiracy involving people both within government and in the private sector. And when I say every aspect of South African society, I'm not being hyperbolic. Basically, all of our state organs, as well as several provincial governments, have been under the control of a vast conspiracy of politicians and business people, basically to loot the country for whatever resources they can get. And this applies even to members within Ramaphosa's own executive cabinet. So what he has proposed is sweeping changes to how elections are conducted, as well as drastically limiting the powers that governmental ministers have over the allocation of contracts and services and who gets to do business with the state and who does not. Now, while this might sound positive in that it sounds like corruption is finally being discovered and exposed, what it will lead to in practice is, in my view anyway, a massive increase in politically motivated violence and probably a lot more assassinations. Because while I noted, watching his address, that Ramaphosa was very careful not to mention anyone by name, probably because they're all still being investigated, it is highly likely that former President Jacob Zuma was at the head of this state capture conspiracy. And the thing is, the people who benefited from things as they were and used the loopholes that allowed them to do these things are not simply going to take their balls and go home. They're not going to lie down and let themselves be sent to prison. So I foresee an increase in the general level of chaos and instability in South Africa. I may be wrong, and I hope I am, but given the scale of this conspiracy, by the sound of it, Ramaphosa indicated that there may have been thousands of people involved in corruption. So I don't think that this is going to go well, at least in the short term, for the average South African. I hope that this has been helpful, and if you want to verify what I'm saying, you can easily find Ramaphosa's address simply by Googling his name or looking for South African state capture on YouTube. For now, farewell.